Welcome back to All Things Soggy Buns, the podcast all about all things soggy buns. For
Right.
anyone just joining us for the first time,
Yeah.
we're a food truck and catering company based right here in Maryland,
That's right.
known for putting unique twists on classic comfort food.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be diving into a technique
Mhm.
that adds a whole other dimension of flavor
Interesting.
with some of our signature dishes.
Okay.
Cold smoking cheese.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
You might be surprised to hear how many items on the Soggy Buns menu actually feature this secret weapon.
Yeah.
But the best part is,
What's that?
it's surprisingly easy to do at home.
Oh, wow.
So to guide us through this smoky adventure, I've got our resident expert here with me today.
Always happy to be here.
So what are we unpacking today?
So today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of cold smoking cheese. We're going to cover the basics, but we're also going to explore some of the nuances
Okay.
that can take your cold smoked cheese to the next level.
Awesome. I'm all ears.
Great.
So for those who might be new to this, let's just start with the fundamentals.
Sure.
What exactly is cold smoking?
Well, it's a fascinating process. Unlike traditional hot smoking, where you're actually cooking the food, cold smoking is all about infusing flavor at low temperatures,
Okay.
well below 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
Interesting.
And this gentle approach allows the smoke to penetrate the cheese
Okay.
without melting it, creating this unique depth of flavor you just can't get from store-bought smoked cheese.
I see.
Yeah,
That makes perfect sense. It's like slowly letting the cheese bathe in that smoky goodness.
that's a great way to put it.
I like that.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious about the why behind cold smoking cheese.
Okay.
Why not just buy it pre-smoked?
Well, that's a great question. While pre-smoked cheese is certainly convenient, cold smoking your own cheese at home gives you a level of control and customization that's simply unmatched. You can experiment with different types of wood. You can control the intensity of the smoke. You can even blend different woods to create your own signature flavor profiles.
Wow.
It's all about creating a cheese that's uniquely yours.
That's what I love about cooking.
Yeah,
The creativity and the ability to put your own personal spin on things.
exactly.
So for someone like me who's eager to jump in,
Yeah,
are there certain cheeses that are easier to cold smoke than others?
absolutely. For beginners, I recommend starting with cheeses that have higher melting points.
Okay.
So cheddar, Gouda, Monterey Jack, even mozzarella are all great choices
Okay.
because they give you a little more wiggle room
Okay.
in terms of temperature control.
So less likely to melt.
You're less likely to end up with a melty mess while you're still getting the hang of things.
Noted. High melting point equals less chance of disaster.
Exactly.
I could definitely handle that.
I think you can.
Before we get into the actual process,
Okay.
I want to remind everyone listening that if all this talk about cold smoked cheese is making your mouth water,
Right.
you can always check out soggybuns.com.
That's right.
Buns with a Z
Yes.
to see how we're using it in our dishes.
Absolutely.
We've got everything from gourmet grilled cheese to smoky mac and cheese.
Ooh.
That will definitely satisfy your cravings.
Sounds delicious.
Now let's get back to the smoking process.
Okay.
What is the secret to cold smoking cheese at home? What kind of setup are we looking at?
So the key to successful cold smoking is maintaining those low temperatures we talked about earlier. One of the easiest ways to achieve this is with a pellet smoke tube.
Okay.
These handy little devices are designed to generate smoke
Okay.
without producing a lot of heat,
Interesting.
making them perfect for cold smoking.
Makes sense.
You simply fill the tube with your favorite wood pellets,
Okay.
light it up, and let it do its thing.
Wow. So I've got my pellet tube ready to go.
Okay.
What's next? Do I just toss the cheese in my regular smoker?
Not quite. You want to create an environment that allows the smoke to circulate while keeping the temperature stable and low.
Okay.
So you can use a grill
Mm-hmm.
or a dedicated smoker.
Okay.
But the key is to position the pellet tube far enough away from the cheese
Okay.
so that the heat doesn't melt it.
So placement is key.
Placement is key.
Gotcha. Any other pro tips for keeping that temperature in check?
This might sound surprising, but a pan of ice or water can work wonders as a heat diffuser.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Place it near the cheese to help absorb any excess heat from the pellet tube.
Okay.
Aim for a temperature around 75 degrees Fahrenheit inside your smoker.
Ice in a smoker. Now that's a trick I've never heard of.
It's all about getting creative
Wow.
and working with what you have to create the ideal environment for cold smoking.
I love that. It's like a little science experiment in the kitchen.
Exact.
So I've got my pellet tube going,
Oh.
my ice bath in place,
Mhm.
and my cheese is strategically positioned. How long does the smoking process actually take?
You're looking at a smoking time of about 2 to 4 hours. The key is to maintain a nice, steady, light smoke
Okay,
the whole time. Luckily, the pellet tube pretty much takes care of that for you.
I like that.
Just remember, don't oversmoke it.
Voice
4 hours is really the max.
Gotcha.
Any more than that, and you risk the smoke flavor becoming too overpowering.
This is making me so eager to try this at home.
Yeah?
I'm already picturing myself as a cold smoking pro.
I bet.
But before I get ahead of myself,
Yeah,
I want to make sure I understand the next step.
sure.
What happens after the smoking is done?
This is where the patience comes in.
Okay.
Once you take the cheese out of the smoker, wrap it tightly in plastic wrap
Okay.
or place it in an airtight container
Okay.
and then pop it in the fridge for, get this,
Okay.
4 to 7 days.
Wait a minute. A whole week?
Yeah,
That seems like a long time.
I know.
Why so long?
Well, that resting period is crucial. It allows the smoke flavor to fully penetrate the cheese
Okay.
and mellow out.
Mm-hmm.
You see, when the cheese is first smoked,
Yeah.
the smoke flavor can be a little harsh.
I can imagine.
But during that resting period,
Yeah.
the smoke flavor becomes more evenly distributed
Okay.
and the harsh edges soften.
Interesting.
It's similar to letting a steak rest after you cook it,
Oh.
allowing the flavors to meld and
Yeah.
develop.
Gotcha. So if you're impatient
Yeah,
and eat the cheese right away, you're
Sure.
not going to get the full flavor experience.
exactly. You'll miss out on the depth and complexity
Right.
that develops during the resting period.
Okay.
Trust me, it's worth the wait.
Okay. I'm starting to understand the importance of patience when it comes to cold smoking cheese.
Yeah.
Now, I know we talked about using a pellet tube,
Right.
and wood pellets.
Yes.
Are all wood pellets created equal?
That's a great question.
Does the type of wood I use actually make a difference in the flavor?
Absolutely. Different woods impart different flavors to the cheese. Okay.
You've got your classics like hickory,
Okay.
which gives you that traditional, bold, smoky flavor.
Okay.
Maple adds a touch of sweetness.
Interesting.
Mesquite is more intense, almost like a barbecue flavor.
I see.
And then you have fruit woods like apple and cherry, which
Oh,
add a delicate, fruity note.
wow. So many options.
I know.
So how do you know which one to choose?
Right.
Are there any specific pairings you'd recommend?
That's the fun part. It's all about experimentation and discovering what you like best.
Okay.
For example, if you're cold smoking a sharp cheddar,
Yeah.
hickory is a classic pairing
Okay.
that enhances those robust flavors.
Makes sense.
But for a milder cheese like mozzarella,
Yeah.
you might prefer a lighter wood like applewood.
Okay.
And for something like a creamy goat cheese,
Yeah.
cherry wood can add a lovely sweetness and complexity. You can even try blending different wood types
Really?
to create your own unique flavor profiles. I'm loving this idea of becoming a cheese-smoking mad scientist. It's like having a whole new world of flavor combinations
It is.
to explore.
That's the beauty of it.
It's incredible how much thought and nuance goes into this process.
Yeah.
For our listeners who are as fascinated by this as I am,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to mention that you can always visit soggybuns.com
That's right.
to see how we're using these techniques in our dishes.
Yes.
That's Buns with a Z.
Uh-huh.
We're always experimenting with new flavors.
Absolutely.
And you might even find some inspiration
yeah.
for your own cold smoking adventures.
Exactly.
Now, I'm curious,
Yeah.
when it comes to this resting period,
Mm-hmm.
is there anything specific happening to the cheese? Is it just about the smoke flavor settling, or is something else going on?
It's not just about the smoke flavor mellowing.
Okay.
There's actually some fascinating science happening during that resting period.
What?
The smoke molecules are interacting with the fats and proteins in the cheese,
Interesting.
creating new flavor compounds. It's a complex chemical transformation that takes time to fully develop.
That's so interesting. I never knew there was so much science behind cold smoking cheese.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think about all those flavor molecules working their magic in the fridge.
I know, right?
This really is a deep dive.
It really is, and that's why I find it so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's a perfect blend of culinary art and scientific principles.
Okay, so we've talked about the importance of low temperatures,
Right.
using a pellet smoke tube,
Yes.
the different types of wood and their flavor profiles,
Mm-hmm.
and the crucial resting period.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else we need to know to become successful at-home cheese smokers?
I think we've covered the essential techniques and
Mhm.
principles.
Okay.
The beauty of cold smoking is
Yeah.
once you understand the fundamentals, you can really start to experiment
Right.
and have fun with it.
You've definitely sparked my curiosity.
Good.
I'm already thinking about all the different cheese and wood combinations I want to try.
Yeah.
I'm also wondering, Can you cold smoke anything besides cheese?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And it really speaks to the heart of cold smoking.
Okay.
Remember, it's all about infusing flavor
Yeah.
without heat.
Right.
So theoretically, you could apply this technique to a whole range of ingredients.
Now you're really speaking my language.
Right?
What else could we cold smoke? Don't hold back. Give me all the delicious possibilities.
All right, well, nuts are a fantastic candidate for cold smoking.
Okay.
Imagine almonds, pecans, or walnuts
Okay.
with a subtle, smoky depth.
Interesting.
Spices are another interesting avenue.
Okay.
Think about smoked paprika or cumin.
Oh, yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
Wow.
And for the truly adventurous, you could even cold smoke butter.
Smoked butter.
Smoked butter.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
I can already imagine using that in all sorts of dishes.
Oh, yeah.
My mind is officially blown.
It's all about thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
And exploring new ways to create deliciousness. And who knows, maybe one of our listeners will come up with the next big cold smoked food trend.
I love that. We're empowering our listeners to become culinary innovators.
That's right.
Now, for those who are feeling inspired
Yeah.
to try cold smoking at home,
Mm-hmm.
is there anything else they should keep in mind? Any common mistakes to avoid?
One of the most common pitfalls is rushing the process.
Okay.
Remember, patience is key.
Right.
Don't be tempted to shorten the smoking time
Okay.
or skimp on the resting period.
Right.
Those steps are crucial for developing the full flavor potential of your cold smoked creations.
That's great advice.
Yeah,
It's a reminder that sometimes the best things in life take time.
exactly.
Speaking of time, I know we need to wrap up.
Okay.
But before we do, I want to encourage everyone listening to visit soggybuns.com.
Yeah.
That's buns with a Z.
Huh?
To see how we're using cold smoked cheese to elevate classic comfort food.
Absolutely.
You might just find your new favorite dish.
I hope so.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener.
Good.
I've learned so much about the art and science of cold smoking.
Yeah,
I'm feeling inspired and ready to experiment in my own kitchen.
that's great.
Any final words of wisdom for our aspiring cheese smokers out there?
Embrace the process. Don't be afraid to experiment, and most importantly, have fun with it.
I love that.
There's a world of flavor waiting to be discovered.
Couldn't have said it better myself. A huge thank you to our expert for sharing your knowledge and passion with us today.
My pleasure.
And to all of our listeners, thank you for joining us on this smoky adventure.
See you next time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of All Things Soggy Buns.
Yes.
Until next time, happy smoking.